Hello, this is George, and this is my Introduction to PatternSmasher 2025 video. This is similar to my other PatternSmasher versions, such as the 2018 and 2024 versions, but this one is a quantum leap in sophistication beyond the 2024 edition. Because the 2025 is built upon 2024, when you purchase 2025, you get 2024. As you can see, I've got a mask in the little splash screen here, and that kind of gives you an idea of what I'm going to be doing. I call it per bit masking. So this is what makes this version so special. But before I get into it, I do have a video on YouTube on how to use PatternSmasher 2024, and you should probably check that out. I'm going to give you a brief intro into PatternSmasher, the concept of PatternSmasher, and then I'll build upon that, and we'll go on to what makes 2025 so special. Let's jump in first and discuss what PatternSmasher is. So let me get over here. I was doing some work. Let me undo this. And let's go over here and look at the other Excel spreadsheet I've got. This is PatternSmasher in a nutshell. I've got, in this case, 4 formula, and I call each formula a bit. And in my demonstration that I'll be showing, I am showing relationship between closing prices for today, yesterday, the day before, and the day before. And let me show you what the formula are. They're denominated in daily bars. They don't have to be. They could be any formula that you like. Let's go ahead and kill this. Let's take a look at the strategies, and I'm going to show you the formula that I'm using. And I've created 8 formula. Let's go ahead and fix this back. This was something I was working on. And see, that's a formula. Close of C greater than close of C 50 average. We're going to just do this here for demonstration purposes. By showing a visual pattern, it makes the demonstration so much more simple. So we got formula 1, which I call bit 1, formula 2, which I call bit 2, bit 3, and bit 4. And basically I'm going comparing today's close with the prior day's close. This is today's close versus yesterday, yesterday versus the day before. As you can see, I go from 0 to 7 and 1 to 8. I'm looking at the closing relationships between the current close and the prior close. Let's take a look at the crux of PatternSmasher. If a formula is false, I turn it to 0. If a formula is true, I show it as, I shouldn't say I turn it to 0, I show it as 0. And if it's true, I show it as 1. So using those 4 formula, I call it bit 1, bit 2, bit 3, bit 4. If the close of today is not greater than the prior day's close, then the statement's false. And in binary or bit nomenclature, a false bit is 0, or a false value is 0. If it's a true value, it's 1. So 0 is false, 1 is true. So if today's close is not greater than yesterday's close, then I have it turned off to false. Following that logic, if you look at all 4 bits, in this case the last 4 days, you'll have 4 down closes in a row. Today's close was less than yesterday's. Yesterday was less than the prior day, and so on and so forth. And every binary number has a decimal number. It's just base 2 versus base 10. That's what it boils down to. But being able to look at formula and equate that to bits is really what makes PatternSmasher special. And I came up with that idea years ago. And the thing to keep in mind is when you're using PatternSmasher, you must make sure every formula can either result in a true or false statement, or result, I should say. So in most cases, if you're using the PatternSmasher, The formulas, you're going to have a greater than, you're going to have a greater than or equal sign, less than sign, or less than equal sign. So all these have to result in a result of either true or false. True is Boolean, which is either on or off. True is on, which is 1. False is off, which is 0. So you always have to, your formula always have to be a Boolean expression. It's no big deal. So let's look at our sheet again. 4 down closes in a row. The decimal equivalent to that is 0. This is the binary representation of 4 down closes in a row. Decimal 1, which is pattern 1, means that today's close was up, prior day's close was down, down, and down. So that's pattern 1. Pattern 15, if you're working with 4 bits, you can only have 16 different unique patterns. And it's 2 raised to the number of bits. So 2 raised to the 4 is 16. But you always start at 0. So you start at 0 to 15. It's 0 based. The PatternSmasher is 0 based. So we go from 0 to 15, which is 16 iterations. 15 is you had 4 up closes in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's jump over to TradeStation. Let's look at some results real quick. We're going to do, I'm going to make it 0. This is what separates PatternSmasher 2024 from 2025 is this one input, mask code. To make it act like 2024, we zero that out. Let's optimize. Let's put these up to, let's make these nonsensical numbers so they will not be utilized. And we're going to optimize the exit bars. We want to hold on to this for 1 day to 4 days. And we're going to only buy. We're only buying in this demonstration. We're going to optimize from 0 to 15 the patterns. 0 to 15. Why 0 to 15, you may ask? Well, that's going to be the number of patterns. The whole universe of patterns we can represent with 4 bits. So let's do that real quick. Let's just double check, make sure I did everything before I run the analysis. 1 to 4, 0 to 15. Not using the profit target, and we're not using the stop loss amount. Optimize it. There's only going to be 64 iterations. So let's take a look at the equity curve. This is probably, I think my objective function is total profit. So we're going to look at the best parameter sets that produced the best profit. And there you go. Looks pretty good. I mean, that's not a bad looking equity curve. You had a flat period here, but remember, we are only using one pattern, one 4-day pattern to derive this trading system. But keep in mind that these are hypothetical numbers. And hypothetical numbers can be very misleading. We are data mining, and when data mining, you're looking for the best results, and that's what you pick. When you find a good result, is what you're showing. So, will this happen in the future? Probably not. The gold market would have to continue in its current mode for this to produce these numbers. But it did pretty good even back when the gold wasn't going straight up. Because this goes back to 2016. And since we're on the subject of hypothetical numbers, we should disclose what are the limitations of hypothetical numbers. This is a CFTC required disclosure. One of the limitations of hypothetical performance results is that they are generally prepared with the benefit of hindsight. That's very important. We are looking back in time. We know what happened. In addition, hypothetical tracking does not involve financial risk, and hypothetical trading does not involve financial risk. Well, that makes sense. And no hypothetical trading record can completely account for the impact of financial risk in an actual trading. For example, the ability to withstand losses or to adhere to a particular trading program in spite of trading losses are material points which can also adversely affect actual trading results. There are numerous other factors related by the markets in general or to the implementation of any specific trading program which cannot be fully accounted for in preparation for a hypothetical performance results, and all of which can adversely affect actual trading results. Basically, that says You know, the computer can only do so much to simulate market action going back in time. So just keep that in mind, that these are hypothetical numbers, and they are, you know, there's tremendous amounts of limitations with them. But remember, at the same time, it's the only tool that, when it comes to developing trading systems, that we really have, that we can rely upon. So that looks pretty good. This so this basically is PatternSmasher 2024, because we could only look at 16 different patterns, and they were very strict patterns. And what do I mean by strict, you may ask? Well, strict in the sense that each day, and we're denominating these in days. They don't have to be. They could be hourly, whatever interval you would like. And we're looking at relationships of closing prices. They could be any formula. You could have RSI of C of the close for 14 period greater than 30. You could have the close greater than the upper Bollinger Band. You could add these patterns. You could stack these patterns along, like I did with the prior 4-day closes. So it's unlimited what you can do with this tool. But this is all you could do, you know, with the PatternSmasher 2024. So we want to go over what makes 2025 so special. Well, the 2025 special, what makes it special is that we can add on to these 15 different patterns. And let me show you what that looks like. If we look at this spreadsheet, this is the PatternSmasher 2025 output. And as you can tell, there's nearly 300 lines, 257 to be exact. The first 15 patterns are PatternSmasher 2024. And what this output does, and I'll go over it real quick, it's going to show you the mask code, and that's the key to PatternSmasher 2025 is the mask. In this case, if mask is 0, I'm using all bits, all 4 bits. And that kind of gives you an idea of what I mean by masking. But let's go over the 4 bits. We have the 15 patterns, and that's the relationship of the 4-day closing prices. If you had 4 down closes after day 1, this is what would happen. But let me go back real quick. If you have, there's 104 different patterns that match 4 down closes. Okay, you had 104 instances, or that's the frequency of that pattern occurring over the past 10 years. If you were to look at the price after 1 day, you would see that the price was up 52 times, and it was down 52 times, for a net change on average of 2.48%. The price increased 2.48% after 1 day. If you wait to 2 days after that pattern hits up, after 4 down closes, you would have a price, the price would be above the entry price 50 times, and it would be below the entry price by 54 times. Because of the nature of the gold market that we're seeing right now, you had a 4.04% increase in price. If you measure the price 3 days after the pattern hits up, you'll notice the price was up 48 times and it was down 56 times, but you had a 5.67% increase in price. That's pretty remarkable. You know, you had 104 trades, and over a 3-day period, price increased 5.67%. But look down here. Look at this pattern. Let's highlight that pattern. That is pattern number 2. It produced 26.06% change in price after 3 bars. So if we go back and look at PatternSmasher cheat sheet, pattern 2 is this here. I'm sorry, pattern 2 is this here. Basically, today was a down day close. Yesterday was an up close, down close, down close. So this is basically, if you are in a bull market, you're waiting for a 2-day pullback. It shows a blip up, and you're buying on a down close. So that's really a mean reversion pattern. Most of these are mean reversion patterns, because this type of pattern looking at the relationship of the prior day's closes can reveal mean reversion personality or the mean reversion paradigm of the underlying market, and that's what this type of analysis does with these formula. Of course, the formulas can be anything you want. So let's take a look at pattern 2. If we go back to TradeStation and we say, well, let's change, that looks good. Those are spectacular numbers. Let's look at edit strategies. We're just going to look at pattern 2. Mask code is going to stay at 0. I'm going to exit bar, I think 3. I think that's what we came up with. It produced at 26%. And let's see what happens. Let's look at the performance numbers. Not too bad. Now, keep in mind that we are only looking at the pattern and holding it. We're not using any trade management whatsoever. And the best parameter was not this parameter, but you got to take into consideration when you actually test these ideas, you have to realize when you convert the research into actual strategy, your results may not match what your research shows, but the research gives you an indication of what might be a good pattern. So let's go and take a look at the settings again, just to make sure everything's good. For day week filter, I don't care. You can look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday if you like. Pattern match is 2, no mask code. LSB is 1, and my exit bars is 3. Let's optimize those exit bars real quick. Let's go 1 to 4 and just see what produces the best results using that certain pattern, that particular pattern 2. And let's look at the optimization results. Actually holding on to the pattern for 4 days was better. Not much better. The LTS index is still just about the same. And that's using no trade management whatsoever. And you can tell this doesn't hit very often. And what was pattern 2? I've got a paint bar, as you can see. Look at the purple and the dark green. PatternSmasher 2025 paint bar only works if you're not using a mask. I thought I could make it work with using masks, but I can't. So the pattern match is 2, so we'll leave that alone. We're looking at the first 4 formula, so we'll hit OK. So I'm going to close. So basically, what was that again? What was that pattern? Can you remember that? I can't. That's the reason I created this spreadsheet, so it makes me easier. I need a down close followed by an up close followed by a down close. Let's see if our code matches that. Down close, up close, down close, buy. Down close, up close, down close, buy. So it's doing exactly what we told it to do. It's always good to validate that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And we're holding on to, I think we said 4 days. So I count that as day 1 because you're entering on the open. So we go 1, 2, 3. Well, let's make sure that's right, just to be on the safe side. This day counting can be complicated because we're executing on the open, not the close. And that was another difference between 2024. I was executing on the close of the bar, which you cannot do, bar on close. So this is almost a tradable strategy. The tool is. So we're getting out on the 4th bar. So let's see if that's true. We bought day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. I wait for the completion of day 4 and I get out on the open of the next day. There's no way you can get out on the close. So all my executions take place on the open. Okay, that's PatternSmasher in a nutshell, and that's the 2024 version. So what makes the 2025 version so much better? Well, I call it masking. So if we go back to the spreadsheet, we determine that this is PatternSmasher 2024. Well, the rest of all this output is produced by 2025. And this concept came to me and I think either it came to me or it was suggested by a user of 2024. I can't remember. But what bothered me about PatternSmasher 2024 and its derivatives of 2018 was that it was very strict. It was very stringent. Each day, in this example, we're using daily bars and closing relationships, had to fit a certain mold. Every day had to. I mean, it was very strict. Today had to be something, yesterday had to be something, the day before of that had to be something, and the day before that. So in this case, for example, you had to have 4 down closes in a row. Okay. What if we thought, okay, we're looking at a 4-day pattern, but maybe we don't care what today did? Could we analyze the 4-day pattern and we don't care about today's activity? And that's what masking does. It basically masking turns off a formula. In other words, it says, I don't care. Okay. So in this example, I've got pattern 0 masked with number 1, decimal 1. And the pattern that is produced is 0, 0, 0, X. X means I don't care. I don't care. It's a don't care bit. If it doesn't have an X in it, it's called a care bit. And let me show you how that works. So if we have pattern 0 and we mask it with 1, we update that, we get this. We saw that 0, 0, 0, X. 0, 0, 0, X. The mask is telling this bit to turn itself off. So if this is on, it turns this off. So what is this telling us? It's saying today's close has no impact on my decision to buy the next bar. But the prior day does. It must be a down close. The day before that, this is yesterday, the prior day, and the day before that. So you had 3 down closes in a row, and I don't care about today. And so that produced these results here. Okay, as you can tell, we've loosened the pattern. It turns out to be a 3-day pattern, with today being a day that doesn't matter. You had 114 up prices, 124 down prices. You actually lost money on that pattern if you bought and held for 1 day. If you bought and held that pattern for 3 days, you had 108 delta up, positive price change, and you had 130 delta negative price changes for a net of 5.27%. We said that's not very good, George. Well, yeah, it seems like with this certain pattern, today's activity matters. Now look at this one. You get 0. Why do I get 0 there? I had up here, I had metrics for each pattern. Okay, if you mask pattern 0 with 1, like we just did here, pattern 0 with 1, you get this pattern. This is the resultant pattern. Now, if we do pattern 1 and mask it with 1, look what happens. You get the same result. Okay, so you get redundancy. So instead of printing out the exact same performance metrics, if the pattern happens to turn out to be the same pattern, in this case 0, 0, 0, I don't care, or X, I do not print out any metrics. So that's what makes PatternSmasher 2025 special, because I can turn off certain days, in this case days, or formula, or whatever way you want to look at it. I don't care about certain aspects of that pattern. Now, if we go back over here and we sort this by bar 3 average change in price from lowest to high, from highest to lowest, sorry about that, you'll notice that the best 3-day change in price was generated by PatternSmasher 2024, because we're looking at mask code 0. But look what creeped in there. If you mask pattern 14 by 1, pattern 4 by 1, it produces that pattern or that result. That means I don't care what happened today. I do care about yesterday. I do care about the day before, and I do care about that. You had 296 opportunities or more trades, and you had a 21.03% change in 3 days. So it really opens up your analysis. Instead of just looking at 16 rocks and you're turning those stones or rocks over and seeing what's underneath them, you can look at a lot more different stones and different rocks. And because we're working with this particular market, with this particular formula, it turns out the PatternSmasher 2024 did produce the best results, but it gives you a variety, and that's what you want to see. You want to see as many varieties as possible. And that's what PatternSmasher 2025 does. So knowing that, let's look at what pattern 4 masked with 1 does. What does that produce? 4 masked with 1 update. It basically, that pattern, I don't care about today. I want to down close, up close, and down close. That's what that's telling you. But let's go ahead and do an optimization, and you will be surprised. Well, you may not be surprised. I was surprised. Let's go ahead and optimize. Let's pull this off the screen. Before I do that, I do provide a, I do provide a paint bar, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work like I anticipated, I should say. It works if you're using just the 2024 variety of the pattern 2025, Smasher 2025. So let's edit the study. Let's look at PatternSmasher paint bar, and I'm going to look at pattern match 2, which I think we decided was the best. So let's go ahead and make sure that's right. And PatternSmasher 2 pattern, let's put 2 in here just to make sure. And we're going to put the 0 mask. Hit update. It was a down close, up close, down close. So we have down close, up close, down close, buy. Down close, up close, down close, buy. So that PatternSmasher paint bar is just there to help you. And unfortunately, it only works with when a mask is 0. And it has something to do with me drawing over existing colored bars. So just remember, I will present that, but it only works with a 0 mask. So let's go ahead and optimize this. We got to go edit strategies. And let's go ahead and we're going to stay the length 4. We're not going to optimize on a week by week basis. We're going to optimize that from 0 to 15, and we're going to optimize that from 0 to 15. Remember, for every pattern, you have a mask. So if you have 15 patterns, you have 15 masks total. Now, how do I come up with this 15, 0 to 15? Well, when you're dealing with binary numbers and you're dealing with bits, the number of potential, or the number of total patterns is 2 raised to the number of bits. So if we have 4 bits, 2 raised to 4 is 16. But since we're dealing with zeros as a number, you go from 0 to 15. If we do 8 bits, it would be 256. 2 raised to 8 is 256, so we'd go from 0 to 255. So that's how I come up with these ranges. Now I want to go ahead and optimize the exit bars. And let's go, we want to hold on to this for at least 2 days. So we're going to do that. And let's do some of this stuff here. Let's do a profit objective in there. Let's do a protective stop in there too. Let's go ahead and optimize that. Let's see how long it's going to take. It's got 6,912 optimizations. That's going to take about 3 minutes and 25 seconds. So we'll come back and visit that in just a moment to see what happens. But I just want to let you know, when you purchase the PatternSmasher 2025, you get a very detailed manual. It tells you exactly how to use this. And if a lot of people get stuck on, whatever the demonstration mode is, they don't really venture beyond that. But you can test things like this. Let's go to TradeStation again. Well, we got to wait. But you know how we're using the formulas. Close of 1 is greater than close of 2, and close of 2 is greater than close of 3. I could just say close of close of today is greater than the 50-day moving average. I could throw that into the mix. And let me show you how that works. Before I show that to you, I just noticed that we're about done with this optimization. So let's see what happens. So far the pattern match is 2 and the mask code is 12. That's producing the best performance of $274,650. The exit bar is 4, 9,000 profit objective, and $6,000 stop. So let's see what that looks like. If we just look at the equity curve, you'd have to say that looks pretty good, George. Hard to complain about that. But remember, we're biased by a bullish, very strong bullish gold market. So I just want to show you, by going through all that, what you can do, what you can uncover, the patterns you can uncover with the PatternSmasher 2025. Now this is what's interesting. Let's see what was the mask code and the pattern match. It's pattern match 14, mask code 12. We're holding for 4 days, 9,000 profit, 6,000 loss. So let's pull our code, our little cheater up here, our calculator, our binary calculator. We're looking at pattern match 14. And let's go ahead and look at the mask, which was 12. This produced those numbers that we just looked at. Update. Wow. This basically tells you that it doesn't matter what day 3 or day 4 does. All the energy is produced by the last 2 days. Today's close must be down and yesterday must be up. So if you wait for that super simple pattern to occur, then you're going to get those results. Now let's take a look at the optimization real quick. With 6,000, so it takes it a moment to pull up the optimization report. I'm tracking all. You can track up to 8,000, and I'm tracking all 8,000. I do that because I utilize the output with my ParamScape software. Okay, so you'll notice that all these produce the same number. And the reason they produce the same number was these pattern matches, or the pattern numbers, when they were masked to 12, produced this resultant pattern, XX10. So that's what that's telling you. Average trade is 738. Total trades, all total trades is 373. That's pretty darn good. But again, are you going to bet your capital on a simple pattern? Even though you are using trade management, we've got a protective stop and we have a profit objective. So this looks like pretty good numbers, but let's look at better numbers. And the TS index will reveal the relationship of the profit to the max drawdown. And 2 and 14 produce the best TS index. What's 2 and 14? What does that pattern look like? Pattern 2 masks with 14. Got a lot more trades. So what does that reveal? Well, that reveals this here. Buy every down close. Every time today's close is down, buy. That's what that's telling you. I tell you right now, I would not base a trading approach on that at all. It's just too simple. But it's interesting how it doesn't matter that these days don't, it doesn't matter what happened yesterday or the day before or the day before if you want to get that type of profit and drawdown ratio. Of course, you could go down here and say, okay, I don't like it trading that often. That means it's too simple. Let's make it a little bit more complicated by diminishing the number of trades. Let's get somewhere like 300 trades. There's a lot of optimizations in here. 300 to 400. And then you get something pretty decent. There's 152. 152 trades are about, and that is using 10 and 6. 10 pattern, 6 mask. 10 and 6 update. See? That's where the 2 inside days do not matter. You want an up close, I don't care, and a down close. Okay, so it's pretty interesting. But so that's basically PatternSmasher in a nutshell. But I wanted to show you that my demonstration formula, we can change that in your code. You can use whatever formula you want as long as it comes out to be a true or false statement. So let's go back over here. I'm going to kill that. Studies, edit strategies, and let's see. We could say something like this. Let's do pattern formula 3. Let's just type this in here. RSI C14 is greater than 25. And let's do close. Let's do close of 0 is greater than average close of the last 5 days. Since we're talking short term, okay? So those are the 4 formula. Let's go ahead and optimize that. We're just going to keep the profit objective. It doesn't like that. Misspelled it. It's hard to type in this. But see, this is where you don't need to really know, you don't need to program in EasyLanguage. You just need to know how to create these if-then, or not if-thens, but these simple expressions. If you can create simple expressions like this, you can create trading systems with PatternSmasher 2025. So let's go ahead and we're going to optimize the pattern match. Now we're making a more sophisticated pattern, and let's see if it makes any difference. Let's see if this has any impact on the results. And again, we're in a bullish gold market. It may or may not make an impact. So let's optimize. It's 256. Numbers are not as good. We're getting close. There, we matched. And you're saying, why did we match? How could we match? Well, let's look at the optimization. The best profit was produced with 14 and 12. What's 14 and 12 again? 14 and 12 produced. Don't care about the RSI. I don't care about the moving average. I just care about the price action. Okay, that ends my my tutorial on PatternSmasher 2025. This is just really opens up to what you're capable of testing. If you can write enough EasyLanguage to come up with a true or false statement, you can test anything. You can create trading systems with this because I give you the analysis tool with the indicator. I give you the PatternSmasher match with the strategy. All that can be converted to actual trading systems. If you have any questions, just email me at George P as in Pruitt at gmail.com. It's G, P as in Paul, and then Pruitt at gmail.com, or check out georgepruitt.com, my website. I appreciate your time and thank you. And like I said, contact me if you have any questions.